Si la renta está subiendo y subiendo.
If the rent keeps going up and up, what am I going to do?
Tonight, some tenants on rent control in San Francisco are fighting to stay.
But they say large investors are pricing them out of their affordable apartments.
KPIX Susie Steimle live in San Francisco with tonight's original report. Susie?
So the city of San Francisco has allowed new landlords to pass on a laundry list of expenses to its rent-controlled tenants, including the cost of the building. But last year, the Board of Supervisors decided that that wasn't fair and that they were going to ban those types of rent increases. But we found some landlords are still getting that sweetheart deal.
Mi nombre es Rosario Garcia.
My name is Rosario Garcia.
We first met up with Rosie Garcia at a rent board hearing in San Francisco. She was one of several tenants there objecting to a petition filed by her new landlord, Veritas Investments. They want to increase her rent by 7%.
Tengo regadera.
This is my tub. I don't have a shower head.
Tenants may object to rent increases if their landlord has failed to perform requested repairs on their units that are required by law. Most of this rent increase is to pay for her landlord's mortgage and increased property taxes on her building. A 2018 city ordinance forbid that kind of rent increase, but landlords like Veritas that filed in the 4 months before the law went into effect last year are exempt if they can prove they reasonably relied on their ability to pass through those costs at the time of the purchase. The rent board so far has ruled on 23 petitions for mortgage and property tax rent increases filed during that 4-month window of opportunity. 21 were granted. 12 of them were for Veritas.
That kind of business model is fundamentally incompatible with a city that's trying to address an affordability crisis.
Brad Hearn is with the Housing Rights Committee of San Francisco. He says this decision will raise the rent for more than 100 rent-controlled tenants in the city by 7%.
The impact is just increasing rents way beyond a rent-controlled tenant expects. Double-digit rent increases on rent-controlled tenants.
Rosie has lived in her Mission District apartment for more than 40 years and can still afford it on a fixed income thanks to rent control. But ever since Veritas took over, she says her rent has steadily crept up. If this latest rent increase is approved, she says she won't be able to make it.
Si la renta está subiendo y subiendo.
If the rent keeps going up and up, what am I going to do?
Veritas is San Francisco's largest landlord with nearly 200 apartment buildings. And we've done stories on them before. You might remember the term that their rent control tenants like to use, rent eviction. That's how they describe these lengthy construction projects that they believe are meant to annoy them out of their rent controlled units. And now they're saying having to pay Veritas's mortgage on top of all of that is salt in the wound.
The stories that I've heard from many Veritas tenants, which are stories that I'm sure you have, are horrific.
San Francisco Supervisor Hillary Ronen helped craft the ban on mortgage rent increases. She says even though Veritas can be exempted, it should stop petitioning for that.
Debt servicing pass-throughs are not appropriate. And so just because it doesn't apply that retroactively doesn't mean that a company who cares about their brand and their image being a major actor in the city shouldn't voluntarily comply with that policy.
We wanted to sit down and ask a Veritas spokesperson, Ron Heckman, about that. He showed up at the rent board hearing soon after our crew arrived.
I wanted to arrange a time that we can talk.
But he never came through on the offer. Instead, he referred us to Charlie Goss with the San Francisco Apartment Association.
You have owners who relied on this law in order to be able to pay their mortgage, and we shouldn't change the law on them.
All right, can I hear from the landlord to explain the debt service for this property?
But in the case of Rosie's apartment building, Veritas told the judge the loan for the property had already been paid off.
The loan has been paid off as of March 2019.
So before this rent increase is even approved, they've paid off the loan that is the subject of the hearing. So that to me proves that they do not need it.
As for Rosie, she got a hardship exemption from the rent board for this rent increase, but she's already bracing for the next one.
No voy a mentir tampoco.
I'm not going to lie, because yes, I do feel worried.
Hay que luchar y seguir adelante.
But we have to fight and keep going ahead. because many need it.
So Veritas did provide us a written statement which says in part that it has an excellent track record of responding to all of its tenants' complaints and one of the lowest eviction records in the city. The entire statement can be read up on our website. Along with it is information on how to get a hardship exemption like Rosie did. Veronica and Ken.
Yeah, really an interesting story because what these landlords are doing is not illegal. Let's be upfront about that. Ethically, you know, people that are really barely making it right now, that's a whole other question.
And that's a lot of people in the Bay
That's a lot
Area.
of people, and a lot of people in San Francisco.
It is. And a lot of the people that have been able to stay are the people that had the time and ability to fight. So they are fighting.
Exactly. All right, Susie, thank you for that.